Blacklist Hunter here, and today we're going to talk about the Gon vs Hisoka fight and why it's underrated. In Hunter x Hunter, we don't get to see too many fights, but those actual fights that happen are top tier, no doubt at all. Togashi really is a master at his craft, giving us the best, unique and exciting fights. Definitely top tier level exciting fights exist in the Hunter x Hunter verse, such as Kurapika vs Uvogin, Merem vs Netero, or Chrollo vs Hisoka, which are executed masterfully. Now, after the Hunter exam, Gon's objective was to get stronger and get a payback on Hisoka. Basically, if you remember in the Hunter exam, Hisoka told Gon that he will take the badge he gave him back only when Gon can manage to land a punch on him. So Killua emphasized to Gon that the difference in actual power between him and Hisoka is at a ridiculous range, stating that a 10-year training is what would give Gon a chance to actually go up against Hisoka. So Gon and Killua had 6 months to prepare until the York New City auction, so Killua suggested they train at Heaven's Arena by fighting there, thus allowing them also to make money in the process. So they arrive at Heaven's Arena, and Gon is surprised to see all this action unfold before his eyes. So many fights happening at once, and Killua goes on to say that Silva, his father, left him there at 6 and told him not to come home until he had reached the 200th floor, and it took Killua 2 years in total to reach the 200th floor of the Heaven's Arena. Now at this point we didn't even know Nen existed, and there were Nen users in the 200 plus floors, so now it makes perfect sense. Killua had no chance against Nen users at that level, so that's why Silva told him to go home after he reached 200th floor. So Gon's fight comes up and he is set up against this huge dude, and everybody's like the big guy got lucky and that he is going to destroy Gon and win easily. But as soon as the big guy tries to attack Gon, he just pushed him and the guy was flying out of the ring. So Gon had definitely gotten strong because of the training at the Zoldyck estate, and he could destroy any normal human without any much difficulty. Even Gon was surprised to see how strong he had gotten without even realizing it. Heaven's Arena is truly an exciting place in the Hunter x Hunter world. Not only it's one of the tallest buildings in the whole world, it's a combat arena where only the victory is awarded by ascending higher and higher. It's stated that on average 4,000 fighters come daily to the Heaven's Arena to test their skills. So then Killua and Gon meet Zushi, whom as we know had already started to learn the basics of Nen, and he was set up against Killua, and Zushi was getting overwhelmed, but to Killua's surprise he was still standing, and ultimately out of desperation Zushi activated his aura and unleashed his Ren, which terrified Killua because it reminded him of Illumi, and after eavesdropping on Wing he was even more eager to learn about Nen. So after Wing showed them Nen but didn't explain it correctly, Gon and Killua made it to the 200th floor, and Wing had no choice but to teach them the real Nen. Then here we see Hisoka the Magician. After a while, Gon and Killua tried to walk into the hallway, but it suddenly felt like a jungle of monsters to them because Hisoka was unleashing his aura and directing it at them, which was filled with pure malice. Hisoka shows up to Gon and Killua's surprise, and after they ask him why he's there, Hisoka says that he is an addict for combat. We already knew that, but furthermore Hisoka had traced them through the internet and was waiting for Gon and Killua to arrive there. So when I first watched this scene, it was pretty badass. Hisoka felt like a monster here. With one swing of an arm he was stopping Gon and Killua from advancing further because his aura was simply too overwhelming for someone without Nen basics. We have to admit we all were excited to see Hisoka again, and we couldn't wait to see what would happen. So Hisoka had to stop them at this point because it was too soon for Gon and Killua to enter the floor when Nen users dominate. So then Wing shows up and then offers them to teach them the real true Nen, and ultimately they come back and pass Hisoka's aura barrier and manage to break through and earn Hisoka's respect for actually learning to control the aura in such a short time. So then Hisoka tells Gon that he knows why he's there, to train to fight him, and Gon states that he didn't expect to find Hisoka and that saves him the trouble. So here we have an overconfident Gon. And so Hisoka doesn't even take them seriously and just states that Nen has too much to learn and they shouldn't get cocky just because they learned the 10, which is the basics of Nen. Hisoka goes further on telling Gon that if he wins one battle on that floor, he will fight him. So Gon fought Geto and he did lose, but he performed pretty good, which made Hisoka more eager to fight him as we see Hisoka clenching his fist. Hisoka then fought Castro and as we know won in a flashy performance, while next Gon fought Geto and reveled and managed to win, thus passing Hisoka's requirement. Hisoka tells Gon to pick the day and time and that he will take him on anytime. So they talk on the phone and of course Hisoka with the interesting faces he makes, purely excited for the fight. Now the moment that Gon had been training so hard for comes up. He is face to face with Hisoka. The commentator states that Hisoka has 9 wins and 3 losses, and for the fights he has shown up, he has never lost a single one of them. We see Gon staring at Hisoka with confidence, and this is the first, Hisoka excited moment, and he activates his aura, which made even Wing uncomfortable, that he even stated in shock what a ominous aura that Hisoka has. So all those things that happened in the Hunter exam when Gon saved the aura by attacking Hisoka, Gon crying for being powerless against Hisoka, now it was his time to actually stand up against this dangerous opponent by using all that he had trained and newfound technique, that is Nen. So this was a very interesting moment because we saw Gon who went from a helpless Nen kid fighting a real villain to a kid who is beating up even Nen users in such a short time at this mysterious technique called Nen. So Gon charges at Hisoka and tries to land hits, moving at an impressive speed, punching repeatedly, which Hisoka dodges and blocks with extreme ease. And I love this fight because it's pure action. Gon doesn't waste any time, goes straight in trying to push through Hisoka's defense, trying to land a hit. So clearly Hisoka is on another level. We have to agree that Hisoka probably wasn't even using 3% of his actual strength. He deflected all of Gon's attacks and managed to hit Gon quite easily. The combat experience gap at this point was too much. Gon had only learned the basics. If we look at it, Gon wasn't even strong enough after getting trained by Bisky, who was his master's masters. So even after the Chimera Antar, Gon is still not ready to fight Hisoka. So basically Hisoka was just toying with Gon. He punched Gon several times, but I like the intensity of this fight and that's what makes it special. We have the main character finally fighting the main villain, and the story leading up to this epic fight was pretty awesome. So Hisoka lands a clean hit and clearly provokes Gon, that even the commentator of the fight states that it's such an incredible fight that she didn't even get to say a word. That's how intense and fast paced the fight was. So Hisoka goes on to say to Gon that he hasn't moved a step from his starting point, and Gon starts thinking up a strategy that could work, while Killua on the other hand once again points out the combat experience difference between Gon and Hisoka and states that Hisoka's only weakness is his overconfidence, basically that Hisoka knows that he's on another league apart from Gon. Gon attacks once again, but this time he uses feints and increases his speed quite a bit, ultimately using his stone flip technique, which I gotta say is a pretty impressive move considering we are at a limited space. Gon then shatters the rock into smaller pieces, which Hisoka then starts crushing, but he can't feel Gon. Basically maybe Gon used Zetsu and hid behind the chaos of the smoke and pellets, ultimately managing to punch Hisoka. He actually did do it. He managed to achieve his objective. That's what makes the fight interesting. We have a clear objective goal for the main character who wants to get a payback on this evil, terrifying opponent, and Gon had managed to grow quite a lot. Gon managed to land a critical hit and was awarded 2 points for his magnificent strategy. Next, Hisoka remembered his promise and walks up to Gon to retrieve his badge, and this is the first time Hisoka moved during the first part of the match. Hisoka then asks Gon on how much he has learned about Nen, and Gon was as always honest, so then Hisoka then deduced that he is an enhancer based on the aura personality test that he has come up with. So Hisoka gets a little bit serious. He moves at an insane speed that even Gon couldn't follow him with his eyes, landing solid hits. With one kick he sent the whole stone of their arena into the stands. Basically Hisoka was a little bit excited now, and still he wasn't that serious, but did somehow decide to get a little tougher on Gon. Hisoka then activates bungee gum and pulls Gon towards him, punching him so hard that Gon almost passed out. I mean, the whole choreography of this fight, the main character trying his best against an unbeatable villain who is also unpredictable. It's pretty amazing. Gon then is quizzed by Hisoka on when did he attach his bungee gum, and of course none of the answers were correct, as Hisoka is a tricky magician, and he further explains that he can attach it at any time, thus giving us a more insight into the main villain's power. So next, Gon decides to attack Hisoka instead of running, and here we have the famous scene that Hisoka can't wait to demolish Gon, and he is a bit excited, but he has to wait until the fruit is ripe enough for him to pluck to enjoy taking out his target. So basically Hisoka is waiting for Gon to reach his maximum potential so he can destroy him. Hisoka then pulls Gon towards him with bungee gum and punches him, but Gon then managed to block such a strong attack, but the referee deemed it a critical hit, perhaps to save Gon. Thus the score went 9-4 for Hisoka. So Hisoka ultimately finished the fight by using bungee gum and landing the final hit with a rock nearby. Ironically, Hisoka then tells Gon that he doesn't have enough experience, and this would be the final time they fight at Heaven's Arena, and the next fight would be to the death.